Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother, Love Ruthie. Ruth Smallshaw Ray's Letters to Her Mother. 1947, Part 26. 28 Water Street, St. Augustine, Florida, January 14th, 1947. My dearest mother. Good. Was that ever a delicious pudding you sent, dear? We just had some for supper, and we're both in agreement that it's the best dessert we've had since we've been down here. I got it this afternoon, and while Marion was drying her hair outside, I hunted a few pebbles. I was looking in the grass and everywhere, but where there might be pebbles. Marion asked why. Because it was more fun. I suddenly realized how nice it was just to be able to run around outside barefoot in January. So I did get my pebbles, though, and put on the pudding and made some sauce. Thanks so much, my sweet mommy. I also got the papers. I do appreciate reading them, although I've missed your letters recently. Everything's fine. I began the new art class last night and really like it. There were about 30 in it, and the instructor held mine up and said, "What feeling? What depth? Such contrast. See it?" And as he patted me on the shoulder, she'll go far. American flattery, what? But it thrilled me. How there can be feeling in a bottle of beer and a shell is beyond me, though. Anyway, the main thing is that I like it. We drove out to Surfside dancing Saturday night and out to Ponce's Sunday. January 22nd. Well, it's certainly a curious thing, but I've come to the great conclusion that letters just don't sign themselves and hop into a mailbox, but need a little cooperation from Ruthie. I really have enjoyed your last letters, though, and am glad Daddy likes his robe. And Bud, what a nice compliment from Miss Lovering. It's encouragement like that should give you the incentive to do something with the gifts you have. Naturally, your sister, who always was the girl with the ambition for someone else to do the work, wishes you could find the time, energy, etc. to enter the Bryant. It's probably too late now, but you just know that Daddy has been reading and collecting ideas, just waiting for you or someone to incorporate them into a speech or an essay. And am I to take it that a university course is definitely off the list? And normal too? At the moment, if I had my BA degree, I could have the chance to instruct a summer class. If, such a little word. However, the son of the owner of Ponce's treated some of us to cocktails on the house, and met me, and liked my hair. Anyway, he thinks that the beauty parlor and supplies business is really a booming business, especially down here. Oh yes, and in spite of all the jobs open in Miami, there were an awful lot of veterans jobless. It seems they are only open to skilled people. Do you know of Diana Barrymore? I saw her the other day playing tennis with her husband. They just came down Friday for their honeymoon at the Ponce de Leon Hotel. It's really a beautiful place. She had a white shorts and top outfit on and has a beautiful deep tan. Oh, and guess, I had my first ride in a Jeep. The mayor's son drove us out to George's the other night for a poker game. It was quite a terrific ride, as the causeway to their island is fairly bumpy. Then, of course, with my last nylons on, I was afraid to get out and practically had to be lifted down. Fun, though. We really enjoyed the games, though, and the mayor came in and sat behind me and said that he thought we were good players. Not because of that, but to me he seems to be one person down here that has something on the ball. So many people down here talk so much and say so little. His daughter is very typical of a spoiled daughter. She's not cute but acts very bored, using a long cigarette holder and wearing these slanted glasses. I finally asked her what she did. "Nothing. I need $3,000 to go to university." Apparently her dad won't finance it. We had a little conversation about it, and he said that it's not how much education you get, but how you get it, and what you do with it, that counts. True. Anyway, she said, I have absolutely no qualifications. What can I do? All I can say is, 1, I have been to college, 2, I'm almost 22, and 3, I'm a woman. Oh, wow. I didn't know whether I could keep from laughing or getting cross. A great life. We were also out to George's for Sunday dinner. I don't know if you realize it or not, but we gathered from the ex-service fellows in Canada that their opinion of a lot of the American servicemen was that they wrecked a lot of the cities during the war. Well, a couple of the fellows going to university now, or Gainesville, were talking about the good times they had overseas, shooting at signs and windows in Europe and Asia. Really quite a contrast to the way the kids in Saskatoon talked anyway. It's all very interesting, though. One thing Marion and I are getting so tired of answering is, what part of Canada are you from? How do you like Florida? And the most stupid questions about Saskatchewan. Do you ever have summer? Oh, wow. My kitties are all back but one. They just had colds before. I'm really teaching better than ever before, I feel. Perhaps it's because I'd really like to get into New York school. Did I ever mention how we try to stress with the little ones to write I for themselves in a sentence, rather than their own name, which they often do? One little boy, Jack, lives in Jacksonville. He's been so thoroughly taught that he wrote, I live in Isonville. And my Donald went to the movies and saw Donald Duck and wrote, I saw I Duck. Cute. And the little girl that lives in Miami told another that Miami was her home. The other little girl said, No, it's not. It's not your Miami. It's my Miami. Marion got a cute letter from her little sister Donna the other day. It's amazing how wonderful big sisters are. She asked Marion to send her a big piano for her birthday because she can already play do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And I sent my Indian's mother a Christmas card, and I had a long letter from her asking me to send her some old clothes, way up north. She'd send me some mitts or moccasins in return. Write soon, dear. I love you so much. We really did enjoy the pudding, dear, so much. It was delicious, delectable, wonderful. I'm sorry to hear about the blizzard. Today is cold. I had to wear my summer coat, first time to school. Went to another art class, and I am really interested in it. I've done a fairly good portrait of Marion, too. At the moment, I feel as if there's actually something to it all. Gee, Mother, I've missed our usual little talks we have. I enjoy your letters, really I do. Talk to me now about what I should do here on. Oh, it'll work out, but talk to me anyway. Had some sweet letters from my kiddies in Saskatoon. Also Ruth Nilsson, who went home for Christmas. Mother helped on the expenses. The baby was teething on the trip back. And I had a nice letter from Grandma. Don wants to know if I'm going back at the end of the term. I like Bud's and Daddy's letters. I've 10 to write to Kitty's parents now, so bye. Love you, Ruthie. 28 Water Street, St. Augustine, Florida, January 27th, 1947. My dear, sweet mother. Oh, honey, I just got your letter, and I'm so sorry that I left it so long between letters. But now you'll have one, though, and know that everything's perfectly okay. I hadn't realized that I'd left the impression that I might not be well. My side had me worried for about a week, but just like last spring, the pain left and is okay now. Anyway, I was really glad to hear from you, as always, and there was a notice in the mail that a parcel was at the post office. I imagine it's your cake, so we'll get it today. We have to pick up most parcels at the post office and pay 15 cents for everyone from Canada. They say it's 15 cents for parcel inspection. Quite a little racket. It was nice to hear of your activities. Quite a clever bridge player my mommy is. I notice you won every hand, what? And is that ever too bad about Don Davis? He certainly has tough breaks. Hope he's okay. And darling, is that ever a big thrill to win $2 on the radio quiz? Do I ever wish I'd been there to see you blush? You did, didn't you? I think that's really swell, and wasn't Bud proud of you? I am. And Uncle Freddie being in Regina. Boy, things really are going on around there. Did you know that Daddy said in his letter to me that it was nice when he got home from the hospital and you were, quote, all home together again? I like that. Boy, we've been pretty busy. I'm so interested in my art classes, really like them, and now I'm doing the map of the school campus for the inside of the convention program that we're having in June. Hope it works out okay. Oh, and honey, remember me describing the skeeter races that we went to at St. Augustine Beach here last fall? I got such a big kick out of them. Well, yesterday we drove to Daytona Beach, 53 miles away, to the stock car races there. Was it ever interesting? It's a beautiful, long, hard beach. Sir Malcolm Campbell used to race his car on it. The track is 3.5 miles around, and the cars are like coupes, closed, and make 50 laps, coming to about 160 miles. The cars really tore around at between 90 and 100 miles per hour. The wheel flew off one and rolled quite near where we were, and they had to take a man to the hospital. Of course, Johnny made up a big story of how I jumped over it to tell everybody. Then one of the cars broke down and some fellows went out to push it off the track. Meanwhile, the other cars are tearing down the track and the fellows had to run to get out of the way. One guy fell down and there he was, crawling in and out of the ruts, the cars getting closer. He did get just to the side in time. Quite exciting. The tide was coming in and just beginning to wash over the track near the end of the race. We had to park the car miles down the beach because it was so crowded, and at $1.75 per person, it would really pay off. The drive there is simply beautiful with the ocean, white beach, and palm trees. Remember us reading about all the drive-ins in Florida, places to eat? Did I mention how many there were in Miami? Quite a lot around here, too. We usually go to quite a few. So many things that we take for granted now and that I forget to mention. The shrimp boats we see coming in the bay all the time while we're eating lunch. Also, have I ever mentioned how quickly it becomes dark? There's no twilight. At 5 o'clock it's light, and at 6 it's dark, and a pitch black it is too. Another thing that strikes me so different is the children bringing nuts into school as they fall off the trees. And the oranges here too. I bought 4 oranges the other day and 5 apples. 8 cents for the oranges and 29 cents for the apples. Contrast. I'm taking my kiddies to the farm tomorrow in the school bus. Ought to be interesting. Farm in January. You know how we use the word mess? Well, down here it's sort of a compliment to say about a person. Well, isn't he a mess? A good fellow. Everyone says, hey, or how are you, instead of hi, or how are you? And I'm actually beginning not to mind it. Is it ever funny? We had a day or two of cold weather. I wore my summer coat, and you should see the people dress up. The old Negroes in their fur caps and old shawls and mitts, and colored kids with scarves tied around. You'd think they were freezing to death. One colored girl wore slacks under her dress. I darn near died laughing. Mrs. Averill just had to wear her Persian lamb coat to church Sunday, even if she did roast. We wore suits. Is it ever? Well, Marion and I just look at each other. Sometimes she'll talk about how awful it is for the poor people in Europe. And you never saw such a cupboard or cupboards in your life. Jam-packed tightly with everything that was ever canned. Even tins of brandy-soaked cake, $2.35 a jar, and tins of date cake and every kind of special bread besides everything else. Enough to stock an army. Remember I mentioned the house we would The house would be about $15,000. The Dunhams have been trying to buy it, and now she's upped the price to $22,000. Great life! I washed my hair this afternoon, dried it outside in the sun. Nice, eh? Marion got the cake, dear, and is it ever good? Really rich with fruit. It was quite badly smashed though, and the cake tin dented half in, but the cake tastes swell. I recognize the Christmas paper around it. Since I was about 7 years old. Haven't we saved it? I love you, dear. Really appreciate it. I feel terrifically guilty for not writing more often. This is about the third letter to anyone I've written since Christmas. It's shameful, and I must answer some letters. Oh, tell Buddy they have the smartest trunks and shirt outfits here. Is he interested, or has he good ones? Spring clothes are all being sold out here already. Went to the show the other night, Cloak and Dagger with Gary Cooper. Enjoyed it, and especially the box of chocolates the fellow brought. Really a surprise. Well, darlings, I hope to hear from you. I miss my family. Love, Ruthie. A private note for Mother. Dearest Mother, honey, this is a special note just to you, so keep it confidential, please. Marion has a problem she wants you to give us advice on. Her mother would be prejudiced one way, and I would be another, so maybe you can tell us unbiased, sort of. Remember I mentioned that Don sent me an evening purse for Christmas. Fine. Well, Ian said he couldn't see anything to get Marion, so sent her a check for $18 and suggested she get herself something. A pen if she'd like, as that was what he'd thought of. So far, Marion just hasn't been able to cash it. She thinks maybe she shouldn't. Her mother would be dead against it. She thinks so, hates to ask her. As far as Marion's concerned, she isn't in love with Ian and doesn't care if she doesn't see him again. At the moment, she's not even sure of going home this summer. So what do you think, honey? Ian, of course, thinks it's the real thing, I guess, but she's afraid it would hurt him to send it back. And confidentially, Mother, I wish you'd just tell your little Ruthie the lines to think on. Florida's swell. I like teaching here, and it's fun to do the different things here, but so help me, I still miss Don. I know it's corny, but no matter who I go out with, I still do. He wants to know if I'm coming back. Do I know? How should I be thinking? Well, Dorothy Dix wrote to your little chickens. It's funny how much I miss just even one weekend of talking to you. The question, should Marion, 1, cash the check, buy a pen and forget it, 2, send it back, 3, keep it for a while and send it or give it later? It sounds simple, but every time she goes to cash it, she can't. Love, Ruthie. 28 Water Street, St. Augustine, Florida, February 12th, 1947. My dear sweet mother. Hello, honey. I was just getting ready to answer your lovely letter of a few days ago when Marion brought in another really swell long letter from you. Was it ever good to hear from you, dear? It really took me home again for a few minutes. I got the papers yesterday, so got caught up on the news about Saskatchewan weather. Really quite the time you've been having. Also, the Prince Albert Orphanage. It really brought tears to my eyes, the little kiddies and the sisters who were lost. Oh, there were quite a lot of interesting things in the newspaper, dear, so thanks a million. It was such a surprise the other morning in school. One of my little girls brought in the mail a paper from Saskatoon, the Star Phoenix. Remember me mentioning Mr. Walker at the drugstore? He sent it to the State School for the Deaf in Florida, and I got it. Just put on it, Hello, Florida. Wasn't that sort of nice, though? Tickled me. Before I forget, dear, the Christmas card you sent for the handwriting analysis of the envelope, I think is that of Margaret Walker. At least that's who I immediately thought of. It was quite a surprise about Carol, and I expect she'd feel pretty badly about it. I know I would. Yet I can't understand anyone being that thoughtless. Surely that's the first thing a person would figure out and discuss and decide about, the difference in religion. Thanks a million for the advice, dear. You really are a sweetheart. As Marion said, we could see everything but the logical explanation and way to do things. You're a swell mommy. Honestly, dear, I've no idea what I'm going to do after June, so can hardly tell Don when I don't know. I've skipped the question, so don't expect he'll like that either. It's funny, but things will work out the way they should, I guess. But right now, it's sure a blank wall. Dr. Settles says he's coming around one of these days to get us to sign contracts. The early bird, and I guess we'll have to know then. What do you think, dear? Oh, I got the map of the campus drawn, and then Dr. Settles took it to Jacksonville where they made a zinc etching of it. I'll enclose one of the copies. Everyone seemed very pleased with it, so I am. Daddy will probably see lots of mistakes, but considering it's the first thing like that I've ever tried, I was quite happy about the whole thing. It will be in the program for the convention in June, so we'll see how it looks like. And Ruthie was very happy because she got A in her art class, giving me 3 credits from the University of Florida. And at art class, Mr. Etter said my work was the best yet. He put it up first, an elephant I did from a model, and said about 20 things, all good about it. Gee, was I thrilled. Sure wish I could get a clue as to whether I could do anything with it, though. Any ideas? Was it ever darling? Remember I mentioned Marion's young sister Donna asking Marion to send her a piano? Well, the other morning, Marion got a parcel, a pair of pillowcases embroidered by Donna, who is 7 years old. Marion and Ruth, are they ever cute? She said, I hope you sleep good on these pillowcases. I am sending them to you, so you will send me a... I am sending them to you, so you will send me a piano. Sure touches the old heart, eh? Oh, and have you heard that Florida weather isn't so warm either? Yesterday it was 29 degrees above and really cold. They've had some snow in Orlando, and some of the orange crop was touched. Everyone is very serious about it. They even closed the public schools here and let church out Sunday after half an hour. So Regina didn't have it all. Of course, it's really a laugh because it wasn't that cold. You can stand a fur coat, though, although a black one doesn't look as appropriate with no snow, to me anyway. We've been quite busy, went out to Dunham's for another poker game. 3 fellows drove us out and back, and we had a swell time. I won 37 cents. Marion lost 93 cents. Then we've been to a few shows with the fellows, The Big Sleep and a couple of others. We went to Song of the South with that sailor who went to South Carolina. I never did get around to writing to him, but he was sent down to near here, so came in to St. Augustine. It was rather a surprise. He brought me a cute little dagger and heart brooch affair. When you pull out the dagger, it's a long pin. Quite appropriate. Said he should have given it to me before he went. I finally went out with the fellow who owns the Beach Hotel, who's been phoning since October. He still is. Tonight he wanted me to go out with him and some friends. One fellow owns 2 of the nightclubs in Miami. I guess it would have been interesting, maybe. He phones up every night with some different thing I might like to do. Not my type, though. Went dancing at Dixie's with an ex-Marine and another night with one of the other kids. Okay, I guess, but I miss Don. Well, Chickadee, you may not realize it, but I really appreciate all your descriptions of the blizzard and home. I miss you so much, dear, and really like your letters. Can I ask a favor, dear? You know the sienna shade of Hollywood lipstick I use? It's impossible to even near match it here, so could you send me some? Oh, and the panties you sent for Christmas are ever so nice, but too large. A, should I try to exchange them, or B, send them to you and you get a size smaller? Don't feel hurt, dear, 'cause I think they're so pretty. Oh, the drive-ins serve practically anything you desire. The best are barbecued chicken sandwiches served like hamburgers. They also serve beer and coffee. Put a tray on the car window. All very practical. Funny you get used to things like that and forget about it, but I guess you'd miss them. We feel more and more that we'd like to have our own car. Today is Abraham Lincoln's birthday. He was a good man, so we teach our kiddies. And for George Washington's birthday, February 22nd, we have a party. Quite different from Canada and new to us. Oh, in Saskatoon, Mr. Williams is superintendent. He was the one who was there before Dr. Anderson. I liked him, a little guy. Marion didn't like him, though. It was in my diplomatic days. Oh, did I ever mention how we felt about all that controversy about Georgia's governor? It's been so publicized, but when you've met some Georgians, so help me, it's typical. I haven't met one I've liked. They're very hot-tempered and erratic. Probably some good ones, but I haven't met any. Everyone here laughs and says, "Well, that's Georgia for you." The butcher said during the cold days, "Say, let's go to Florida for the winter." The radiators don't give so much heat, and I scorched the back of my coat trying to get warm. Corny. It came off, though, so we'll be okay. Nice warm radio for you. We've had the fireplace on quite a few times. I think it'll be warmer weather now, though. Gee, honey, I'll try to keep writing more often, but once you start going, it's pretty busy. I love you very much, though, and sure wish I could whip home some weekend. Write to Ruthie, talk to me, and miss me. Love, Ruthie. P.S. Explain some of Revelations. I don't have much of a clue about the 7 kingdoms. To be continued. Well, that concludes today's presentation. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.